the host of Lotto Tarot and the Lotto Terminator 5000. You are asking what the heck is that? Well, it's basically a channel where I have been doing some 2025 predictions and other tarot ball readings. Check it out at the end of the video if you want to see my introduction, if you want to check it out. But this is about Nostradamus because I'm very interested in his predictions every year, and then I realized that the stuff they put into the media is mostly a bunch of crap. So I want to show you real quick here. So basically, I've got this copy of his original writings from the Library of Congress right here, all right? And this is a PDF that's available on the internet, a little hard to find without having to buy it, but you could see where it was stamped in. And obviously it's all in French. Now, I am not fluent in French, but I am pretty good. I work in linguistics a little bit of translation and figuring out, basically this is one of the languages that I'm more familiar with. So I was trying to find these, what they call quatrains. I'm going to show you a few of them down here. Scroll right there. All right, so he normally writes in these 4-line stanzas, which is why they're called quatrains. And you can see this starts with century 1, and each one has 100 entries in it, so that makes sense. A century with 100 years. What's not real clear is the order, what year he started with. There are some other clues for that. And so I kind of made this spreadsheet. I'm showing you my notes here, where you can see this first set of quatrains are basically started in 1269, and it was written by this man named Joseph Mule. So Nostradamus was picking up where he left off, starting in 1521, and this book was published in 1555. So I suppose that makes sense. He had been doing this work for a very long time, and apparently he had a young son. He wrote the entire preface to him about how he figured out how this basically was a pattern that was attached to astronomy, the way that the sun and the planets were moving and that kind of thing. So obviously back in the 1500s, that was a common thing for the way that people looked at the world and the universe, and he tied it together with events, probably based on this first book that started in 1269, and then this second book and this third book were all written by him. Now, they have these weird names that I translated into English and still are not always real clear what that means. That's one of the things I'm really interested in, is trying to figure out. Seems to be obviously some zodiac signs, some metals, some random other things like Hebrew letters. So what that meant to them exactly in astronomy or alchemy, I'm not sure, but this is the kind of thing I want to continue to look into in the series. So moving on, what I wanted to talk about really today is 2025, right? So when you see these articles in the media that say, here's Nostradamus' predictions for 2025, well, I'm going to tell you what he really said. That thing I'm pretty sure of. So if you look here in this preface, which again was the part that he wrote to his son, I've translated here this right where it says, and look at this, I carried them until the year 2024 to occupy my reader. And basically what he's saying is, I didn't go any further than 2024, because that was a lot of work he did, going from 1500s all the way up to 2024. So the answer is, what did Nostradamus say about 2025? Nothing. Guys, not a damn thing. So there is this one exception here where you can see this is the last line, 2024, and he's talking about these predictions, and they normally are very much like this. Like the Farmer's Almanac, spring, summer, autumn, winter. But what he says here is, the grains will be cheap in the winter, and it will be good to buy them because they will be dear the following spring. So that's the only reference I could find to 2025, is that the following spring in 2025 is going to have some kind of grain shortage, price hike. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, real quick, just to kind of go through what I was talking about, I was trying to figure out where the source was, because all these articles I found were all sort of saying the same thing, and it kind of all pointed back to the New York Post, guys, which is basically a tabloid. I'm sure they have some fine people who work there or whatever, but it's, not exactly the most reliable source of news. What is these days? But anyhow, so um, this was the first piece that I pulled out from their article. Um, this part about cruel wars. And so I found this quatrain, and it's in Century 2, number 50. And again, this is the other thing. He wrote all these predictions, but it's not real clear if he thought they were in some kind of order. I'm sure he did, according to the astrology part that he was talking about, or astronomy. Excuse me. The thing is, there have been some things that he has predicted, like COVID being one of them. I'm still not real sure which quatrain points to that. It's another thing. I've got so many rabbit holes I'm digging into with this stuff, but I just want to do a little intro video to show you what I'm talking about. Like, he said nothing about 2025, but he does have this pattern. And so, what the New York Post pulled out here, coming from Century 2, again, the translation that they're putting in, I don't know where they got this from. The word plague comes up a lot in translations for him, but this play right here could also mean something more about a wound. So I'm not real sold on the translation, not real sold on how they sort of just cherry pick these quatrains out from different places. So this one's from Century 2, number 50. This other one is from the preface, which again, like I said, was a big long soliloquy about all this stuff that was going to happen all the way up to 3797. So, like, if he was referring to that being some kind of end time or something, I have no clue. I haven't translated the whole book yet, but I'm planning to. So, here's another thing with the fireball and stuff like that. I found this other passage, again, from the preface that talks about fire and burning stones, which could have actually meant flowery in the translation the way I got it. So same thing, not real clear to me why this was pulled out for an article about 2025. And then this one is really interesting because this came up. This one's from Century 10, number 49. So again, how that correlates to 2025, I have no clue. But this translation here, Garden of the World near the new city and the path of the cave mountains will be weakened and plunged into the vat, drinking by force poisonous sulfur waters. I've seen references to this before being about maybe New Jersey because of a garden near the new city, but also reminded me of what happened to Asheville this year with Hurricane Helene, with the mountains and valleys being flooded and a lot of their water systems going out. So people actually did not have any potable water in that area for months. And in some cases, there's still people sleeping outdoors. I know this for a fact. So, but, what was that and why was it in this order in his book? Again, doesn't make any sense. And it's pretty widely known that this stuff that he wrote was kind of all over the place. But this other one I pulled from a 2023 prediction somewhere else, not from the New York Post, but this one's from Century 523. And this one, in 2023, people thought he might have been talking about Elon Musk because of the mention of Mars. And I lost my English translation, but basically this word Doomvarat, talking about an African. This is why the Elon Musk connection was made. And then saying that, I put here the definition, a coalition of two people who hold the same office. That made me giggle because so many people are talking about how he and the president-elect are working together so closely now. Anyhow, so again, not real sure why these get pulled out, and I'm looking more into this pattern. But what I thought I would do also real quick for today is, let's see, if we keep going here, back on this pattern, I'm going to go back on the first book. So this started in 1269, and what Nostradamus did say was that, like, you can continue repeating this pattern in the preface to his son. So we've basically got 252 years here that go in this order. If you see, they go down and then back up to the second column, and so on. And then, so when we get to 2024, which again he said was the last year he wrote about, and it lines up with this pattern in his book, then by that logic, we now 2025 would belong here in a 1 year. Okay, that adds up to 9. That's if you add up the numbers. That's what these up here are for. Okay, so it's a 9 year, a 1 year, according to Nostradamus. So I went back and pulled for the 3 separate books. There's 3 years that would fit in this first spot, and the first one is 1269. So maybe we can make some inferences about 2025 based on what's happened in these other 9 year, however you want to look at it. But again, the history from back then is usually battle, royal family, and if you really start reading Nostradamus's writings, it's a lot of battles, stuff that's happening in royal families. We do have the first description / invention of a compass, and also some more stuff about royals and royals and royals. Okay, so not really super helpful. And we move on to 1521. There's battles in Spain, more battles in Spain, Philippines. And then this Martin Luther, now we all have probably heard of him and his um, defense of the beliefs before the Holy Roman Emperor. And then we have another revolt in Santo Domingo. These seem to be mostly kind of south of the border places as opposed to North America. And then King Henry was awarded Defender of the Faith for his defense of the Catholic Church. So a lot of that stuff going back and forth sort of between Protestants and Catholics at that time. And then the third year, 1773, now we as Americans know about this. This is interesting. The Boston Tea Party, a revolt, against the tea and the taxes on the teas. So basically it was a monopoly, and if you don't know that story, you should. More stuff about the tea, more stuff about regulation. Birth of a president, first published African American poet, and another invention here with the calculator. So we got a calculator and a compass. Maybe we'll have something invented with a C that's really important, like a collider. No, thank you. All right. So that's all really I've got. I just wanted to point that out, and I'm gonna do some subsequent videos just based on my research of this book. It's huge. It's like 500 pages long, and there's a whole bunch of stuff at the end that's not written by him, that was put in later on. Apparently a king asked for his predictions, the King of France, and so they wrote some extra chapters for that, and then it kind of, it's a lot. So, all right, thank you for joining me. That's all I've got about that for now. And again, please do check out my Lotto Tarot video at the end. And if you're into any of that kind of stuff like Nostradamus was, we can find your zodiac sign and follow me through into 2025. And real quick, one more reason why the Lotto Terminator 5000 has been showing off this year, and how I feel like that ties into this Nostradamus reading slash video. The weird thing is, I was getting ready to pull a ball for just to figure out which zodiac sign to start with in 2025, and the fool just like escaped from the cage, and then it did it again, and then it did it again, and it did it another time. I haven't even done all 12 signs yet, but that just kind of tells me that 2025 is going to be a super new clean slate for a lot of us. Don't know why exactly, don't know what that means. I think it's a good thing. Here you go. Here's a little tiny snippet of a couple videos just to show you what I'm talking about. Welcome to Lotto Tarot. I'm so glad you're here. This is the Lotto Terminator 5000. The way that this works, I've got 78 tarot balls over here. They are shuffled up for you. And in a minute, I'm going to pull, whoops, that wasn't going to answer my question. That's funny. So we're going to start with Aries after all. I just had the Fool pop out. I wasn't quite ready for that. I'm going to put him back in. So that is exactly what I was going to do. Figure out how to get started that way. Awesome. She's already talking to me. So, and this is a full tarot deck. So we're going to be throwing some balls here into the matrix. Fool keeps coming out. All right, I have to keep this out. This has happened also for Aries for the first month. All right, we're doing 6 months for 2025, January through June. I do not know why I have balls escaping ahead of their prison sentence. Basically, how this works, I've got 78 balls in this cage back here, and I'm shuffling them some more. So far, I've done Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, and let's see, the Fool keeps popping out. I can't believe that happened again. All right, guys, you also, and everyone but Gemini so far, has gotten the Fool for the first card, and that was not exactly how that's supposed to work. So I'm going to unleash the balls into the matrix here for you.